Are you welcome to Flip Chart on Flip TV? My name is Biodun Kupoli. Today my guest is a public affairs analyst, a politician, and of course an expert in public affairs. In 2019, he was the spokesperson of Atiku during his campaign and still talking, speaking, representing Atiku at any forum. My guest is Mr. Segun Showunmi. You welcome to the program.
Thank you. How are you?
Fine.
How's the family and everything?
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. What can I do for you today?
We have a lot to talk about. We
Fantastic.
talk about Nigeria,
Hmm.
politics,
Hmm.
governance, insecurity.
That's my food. I love it.
I'm not going to tell you a palette of it anyway. Now, let's take a look at Nigeria. So far, so good or so bad?
I think that a nation is constantly a work in progress. And nations have what you call high season and low season, almost like an electric wave. Sometimes they are at the peak, sometimes they come down, and sometimes they go up. It depends on what a particular generation is doing to the activities of that nation as they received it from their forebearers. What am I saying? Sometimes you get past a great nation, and those who are the successors of those men who made it great will be careless, will not pay attention, indolent and all of that, and it will go into a remission and it will blow. And then another generation might pick it up at a very low ebb, and they will work so hard, and build it up again. Look at all the nations of the world. Let me take Germany, for instance. From their very warring state of Saxonian, Bavarian and all that, they remained a very, quarrelsome nation, and then they became a German nation. And then they became very, very powerful. They became so strong, they did the First World War. They lost that war, they fell into the consequences of, rebuilding, and they became strong and big again. Then they had the Hitler experience, they got into the Second World War. Then they became destroyed. You would think that they will never grow again, and they built it up again, and now they are like a big nation. And for the first time in their history, they are enjoying a very long period of stable growth without any real threat of war to themselves or any breakdown of what's going on. Look at Japan, same thing. Even Great Britain, that we consider very great. Yes, they had the eras when they were in charge of the entire world. Almost every empire had their history. And after a while, they became so reduced to the point that they were just but a small island, even struggling to keep Northern Ireland and Scotland completely in the Union. And then they went into European Union. They enjoyed some peace there, and now they're out. So what am I trying to say? I fear that Nigerians may not be giving themselves as a people and their nation as much time as they need. When you say that, people say, is the country doing well, and people being served and all that. If you never had the flip of a great nation, if there was never greatness around your nation, you could never produce the Awolowos of this world. You couldn't produce the Azikwe, you couldn't produce the Amadu Bellos. And if you got a nation where you were the first to do television, you were the first to build pyramid, you were the first to do all of these great things within Africa, that almost all of Africa, up to Egypt, looked to us for one thing or the other. And now we are in a situation where, okay, we had military interregnum, it seems as if we will never get democracy. Now we're in democracy. The first few years was glorious, and maybe to some extent we got some very rapid growth, good figures in terms of our growth. And now we're at a point where our greatest challenge is faith in the country has dropped. We're at the point where non-state actors are now the ones driving the narrative and the emotions of the people, some towards bringing them towards, recessioning and all of this conversation. Even those who are traditionally supported, through federalism, are even having their voice dwarfed now because of the heavy words and the lot of unbridled and unmanaged effort of those who want the country to split. And so I'll say that it's not a good time now, to be fair to all Nigerians. But the mere fact that we all believe that so much is possible, which makes us know that so much is not happening as we should want it to happen, tells you that it's a great nation and it can always be greater. And the biggest evidence of the greatness of the Nigerian nation is with the diaspora citizen. There is no gathering of Nigerians anywhere in any country of the world that they are not the top echelon of the non-indigenous community, especially of African descent in that country. In America, they are tops. In England, they are tops. In Europe, they are tops. In France, they are tops. So it means that there is some innate greatness in us. What do we now need to do? We need to focus on our nation and figure out a way to build it.
Now, from your explanation, it's a nation that is troubled.
Totally troubled, very troubled.
And the effect is on the citizens. And a lot of citizens are blaming the politicians. And Nigerians politicians, I mean, let me put it this way. Don't you think Nigerian politicians are failures?
Well, I think that we first of all need to define who is or who ought to be a politician. Politics is not a profession.
But
politics is supposed to be an opportunity for people to gather, to contribute, and inspire their people in governance. In the real sense of the word, politics is the history of a people in the making. Now, if that be so, and that's at the very fine philosophical definition of it, every person that is in that country is part of the political class. They may not be part of political parties. Everybody that has an opportunity to be part of the voting public is already part of the political class.
I'm actually talking about the political class.
The serving politicians,
yes,
the elected ones.
Yeah. Have they not failed us from all
again?
The economy has collapsed, insecurity, banditry, everywhere. No one seems to be safe.
When you look at our journey from 1999, you will observe that something is consistent with us as Nigerians generally. We tend to be more interested in blaming everyone else but ourselves. And for a nation that has a very large population, if we are in a democracy, and in spite of all the opportunities that democracy grants us, which include but is not limited to the fact that we can participate in the process of voting, and therefore it means we can even give power to whoever we want. And before you run into the argument of is it not who they present that we give, therein lies why are people not participating. So the political class have failed. There's no pretending about that. Collectively, it's been a huge failure. Some have failed more than others, but all have failed. Now, if they have failed, and it seems to be that the general consensus is that they have failed, why are they failing? One thing you will notice in this country is that from 1999 to date, let's stick with those periods, you will notice that it appears as if the nation as a whole seems to appreciate its leaders in reverse. What am I trying to say? In 1999, by the time we're getting to 2003, 2004, thereabout, some people in the country had even started saying that, oh, the Obasanjo regime is too this, is too that. They were beginning to even think that they liked the military. Then Obasanjo managed to some extent to keep their excitement, do whatever he could to keep them. By the time we got to 2007 when he exited, and we ended up with Yaradua, who didn't live so long, the issues around how they were managing the challenge of his health, his death, the so-called cabal, the people who were, holding on, the way they were treating the then Vice President Goodluck Jonathan, people started feeling that Obasanjo's regime was better. Then we got the Jonathan regime, who was given massive numbers to come in 2011. He got in 2011, but at about the time he was exiting in 2015, it became clear to Nigerians. Nigerians were almost saying, oh, no, Obasanjo is better. Then Jonathan got voted out. In fact, a completely new party, which was supposed to be a new ideology, a new way of doing things, came on board, and they defeated the PDP. And at about the 6th or 7th year, where we are now, you can almost hear loudly in the country that, oh, he's not doing so well. In fact, I've even heard arguments and conversations to the effect that the Jonathan, which they didn't want how many weeks ago, has become so valuable an asset that you can even hear people say, oh, maybe Jonathan should come back, maybe they should come and meet him. And I've not heard any very sound no, even from the Jonathan camp. So it must mean that at some point in time, they're considering the rapprochement. That brings us a problem. why do we seem to see leaders as doing well after they leave? Now, the Buhari administration now is here now. Everybody has
Is the administration doing well?
How can anybody score them well? But the point is that the challenges that a nation face under any leader, there are many variables that are responsible for that. One of the variables is that the challenge that the last man faced may not be the challenge that the new man faced. For instance, we dealt with Ebola during Jonathan, where we lost Adadevo and were able to manage ourselves. But it did not metamorphose or metasize into a big catastrophe where we needed to shut down the country. Lo and behold, who could have prepared the world for COVID? In the Jonathan era, we had a challenge of maybe making so much money from oil, and there were constant concerns as to what we did with the hydrocarbon resources, maybe sometimes even getting to as high as $100. Today, due to no effort of any of them, the value and the price of the oil is just about now coming back to something that is respected. It fell very low. That produces a challenge. It doesn't mean, and I'm not saying with every sense of responsibility that the Buhari presidency has done well, but we can sometimes, we have to, step back sometimes, especially now that we're in such a deep hole. We have to step back from ourselves sometimes. Step back from even our strong position that we've advocated and do a cursory look at the country from the point of view of what a patriot should do or what a respected statesman should do. And my dear brother, with due respect to everybody in this country, I've contributed enough to conversational space since 1992 that I cannot accept that I'm not an elder statesman in the affairs of the land. If you want me to roll back some of the things that I've done, I can do for you. The point I'm making is that where we are now, we would look at the country and say, okay, they're not doing well in terms of security, but can we truly say to ourselves that they caused all of the issues that created Boko Haram, created all the kidnappings? And our problem is we don't understand that when things are decaying and we don't step in it on time to stop it, it can decay to a point where everybody will see the rot. Now, even if it has decayed to a point where everybody will see the rot, we can complain about the decay, or we can make up our mind that it's time to roll up our sleeve, get to work, and reverse the decay so that we can then begin to see incremental improvement in all of those things that bother us. Anything other than that is just playing to the gallery or trying to be a politician that we're complaining about or just being purely unreasonable. If tomorrow morning, by providence, if Obasanjo can be sitting in prison and he'll be made president, if tomorrow morning, by providence, we say, Mr. Atiku, come and be president of Nigeria, you're going to be saddled with these problems that you're advocating. Or even Showunmi, if you ask me to be president tomorrow morning, and why can't it be possible? Was Obasanjo not in prison when he became president? Okay. Or Yaya Bello, any of those people who say they want to be president now. They have to understand, including the young people who say they want to be president, they have to understand that the issues that we're contending with today will not automatically disappear just because of change of guard. And Africans tend to want a change of guard so much that they don't even really interrogate whether the change they are asking for is for good or for bad. And that is where we are now with the APC government of Buhari, when they were making all the avant-garde big promises and all that. Members of the media, the fourth realm of the state, significant stakeholders and all that did not join people like us who were calling them out that how would you do it? How will it be? And before we knew what was happening, you people hoodwinked the whole society into an arrangement where now everybody is crying. And now that everybody is crying, I, who have been constantly saying that this can be, we can't do this, we can't do this, I'm not the one who now think that no, we can't allow our country to break up or whatever. And I'm now doing what ordinarily I should be taking political capital for. Mr. Kubuni, I have been PDP since it was created. Yeah. And I can boastfully say that more than any leader in this country, I have never left it. Not only have I never left it, I've never stopped pushing them and encouraging them and speaking positivity to them. But look at me today. I can no longer truly sit in the comfort of my room, knowing fully whether Rome is burning. And even if Nero, President Buhari, is sleeping, Showunmi, I will stand on the watchtower. I will pray. I will advocate. I will speak faith and new hope into the country. And I will speak solution to some of the problem, according to how I see it.
Okay, now I understand your submission. From all indications, you can see that the politicians have failed us. You admitted that too.
Yeah.
And of course, if you had failed us,
Who are
do
the
you
we?
think, I mean, you politicians?
Who are the we politicians? That's my point. My point is that
Elected officials.
I have not been elected.
I know, but
Yeah, let us say the elected one,
yes.
those who have given power. The big question you will ask before you go too far on that is, can any man elect himself in a democracy?
Yes, that's what I'm saying now. Do you think politicians should be trusted in Nigeria again? Because this agitation points towards one thing.
Lack of trust.
That's it.
Now,
So, do you think they can be trusted?
I have a very personal eureka moment on what you're saying, and I will try and share it with you and our audience. When we hadn't done the presidential election in 2019, and the crescendo of Atiku is coming and all of that, and we're working so hard and trying to market him and trying to push up all those agenda to the people, I kept asking myself privately, hey, what is the risk of putting another leader popularly, by popular demand, who may possibly go there and may possibly fail? I know Atiku, I suspect, because he has never been president yet, he's been vice president, and we know what he did then. I suspect that Atiku will not do so badly and he will not fail. But
what do you think he will have done?
I'm coming.
He will have done
I will come and answer that. The fear of us robbing the people of their hope in the system was so great to me that I went to him one day and I confronted him with these words. I said, Your Excellency, do you know the implication of us putting another person in charge of this country by the popular will of the people, and the person goes there to fail? Before he could answer, I provided the answer for him. I said, we will indirectly make everybody fed up with this democratic system of government. Unfortunately, you Nigerians did not give us enough push, and we believe we were rigged, whatever be the outcome. Even when we thought we were rigged, Nigerians did not protest the rigging much, and we then ended up with Buhari. And can you see how, in spite of the fact that you people say by popular vote, or INEC declared him, or the judge said he was the person, he's in charge now. Look at how that question I was asking of Atiku, who has not even been given the responsibility, look at how the chicken has come home to roast. The truth of the matter is that nations do not improve themselves from only the standpoint of the leaders. Nations renew themselves from the standpoint of the citizens, making up their mind that no, this has gone on for too long. We're not following this route again. We're looking for different type of people. We're looking for different kind of language. We're looking for different kind of characters to please come and try. Why? Because that's the only way they can ever infuse hope. If you return them to the status quo and you brought the people of the nation the same of the same, let me tell you what will happen. Number one, except the ones that can be purchased, bribed, and made to come and participate, who are not even interested in engaging the issues, the ones that can truly interrogate the issue will not even bother. So you are going to have a situation where progressively less and less percentage of people will be installing the kinds of people that they want to install. And that's why great philosopher says a nation gets the leaders it deserves.
So we have leaders that will serve in Nigeria.
We are collectively responsible for what we have created. And let no man exonerate himself. I'm not even exonerating myself. And I'll tell you why I'm not exonerating myself. From the smallest position that you have in the country, which is a councillor, where influences and voices at the community level could pick good people, we're not advocating enough, we're not educating them enough, so we're picking the wrong ones. The next layer is maybe the local government chairman. We have collectively allowed the state governors to become something else relative to what we all know is going on. There is no state in Nigeria today that can come forward and say, we proudly say we're allowing the local government to function with minimal interference. Are there no citizens there? Now, when you look at the state governors, even the 36 of them, I'm not looking at this particular set, especially if we focus on this set, show me any one of them that has come up with a big disrupting idea around leadership. All you see them do is reduce leadership to maybe the routine work of civil servants. And I do not mean it to undermine the civil servant. What I just mean is that, oh, we used to do road. Okay, go and get me another set of contractors to do road. Oh, we used to do money from Subeb. Go and get me, somebody used to get us money. This is what they're doing. And nations need new energy to give it the impetus of a flip. What do I mean by flip? All the nations of the world are in a constant state of renewal. The way they do things is not what they are doing things to. Every challenge that has faced mankind in nations, nations react to those challenges by ensuring that they can solve them. For a very long time, the world did not go to space. We didn't even explore space. Nations decided that if we can go as far as flying in the plane, we might as well go even vertically to see what is out there. And I'm sure maybe some of them might have been thinking that our Father who art in heaven, probably they were thinking that if they got into space, maybe they would find the throne of mercy. But in trying, we are now we take going to space now as routine. Nations have never had it in a manner where they have to shut down everything because of a disease like this, at least in our modern time. The last one was in the 1800s. And the opportunities, the level of frequency at which people were moving in the world was not that high. Now we have a post-industrial revolution shutdown. Guess what humanity has done? The genius in the human species showed up in some other nations. They rewrote travel protocols. They rewrote the social distancing. They rewrote using of masks. They even did the genome sequencing to get vaccine and all that. That's what nations do. My frustration with the Nigerian nation is that our leaders are damn too average. Every opportunity to do great things is missed because they are very mediocre. There's nothing that says that heaven expects Europe, America, China, Japan, or even India to be the ones that will create solutions for the world. There's no reason why Africans would forget that there was a time in this world where they themselves were solution providers. They had great thinkers. What befell us? Now, if we are not quarreling in the most populous black nation of the world, to the extent that we're now saying, oh, we don't even want to see the Fulani man in our country. Oh, we don't want to see the Igbo man who is selling spare parts. We don't want to see the Yoruba man who is selling amala. We don't want to see the... If we get to that level as the most populous nation in the world, then we have to know that it is the collective humanity of the black race that is ebbing lower and lower. Why? Because the collective humanity of the human race, with the largest of them being captured in Nigeria, ought to be a place of succor for all black people.
But the inhabitants are unhappy.
The what?
The inhabitants, Nigerian citizens are not happy. And this stems from the corruption, the misgovernance of our elected officials. Now, from your civic engagement, you must have heard of secessionists.
Oh, yes.
Who want to go away. So you are saying that those arguments are not valid?
What I'm saying is that I hear them. I sense and I also share in the frustration that they're sharing in.
It's overwhelming.
I hear very loudly. What I have just been asking myself is that, imagine how would the Nigerians now feel if the world order became such that people woke up in America, in England, in all these countries, and just said, oh, we don't even want to see black people in our country again. Let's drive them out. And if the black people haven't been given legal papers to stay there, feel that they're entitled to be there, you're not entitled to be there, now start to dig in and say, and they start to kill them. What will we do? Now, if other people's land, other people's ancestral land, like Germany, like London, like France, if it can accommodate a species of humans called African, is it our own Africa that will not be able to accommodate their brothers? If there be a criminal issue on the table, we should solve the criminality in it. But we must not ethnicize or tribalize challenges that exist everywhere, only in different formation. The things that the Northerners are coping with may be slightly different from what the Southerners are coping with and the Easterners are, but we are all coping with one thing. There are no model good leaders even among the Northerners, neither are there any model good leaders among the Southwesterners. So when you now allow them to begin to give the tipping point, get to a tipping point of, oh, what that we want to hear now is we want our Yoruba nation where we need to ask ourselves, show me the Awolowo in their midst who will lead us. Show me the Azikwe in their midst who will lead them. And show me the Sadana in their midst who will lead them. Well, it's not a one-man responsibility to prevent anything, including war. The responsibility to make sure that the country does not implode lies first and foremost with those who have the authority today. And it is to their carelessness that things got this bad. But now that it has gotten this bad, what then is our duty as enlightened people? Our duty is not to be led by the nose, by the mob. Because at the end of it all, we can ask them, let us subject this, your argument, to a debate.
But there have been several forums for that.
Listen, what I mean is that let us subject, no, I'm not saying subject it to a debate of Yorubas versus the...
No, I mean, there have been moments where Nigerians sat together.
You're talking about, no, I'm not talking about, don't worry about that. What I'm first of all saying is that you need to get me right so I can state it properly. I'm saying that, for instance, you are the leader of a secessionist movement in Nigeria, maybe from Yoruba. I'm just saying that I know you are not.
These issues were brought to the fore during the national conference.
Don't worry, I'm going somewhere. Right. You will see me. Let's say you are the leader of the people who say we need Oduduwa Republic. And let me say, for the argument, that I'm the leader of the people who say, no, there is nothing wrong with Nigeria, we can fix it. Let us engage it as Yoruba first, among ourselves. So we can then not engaging it in a way as if we want to be abusing ourselves and all that. No, engage it in a way that we can be sure that we're not making the wrong decision underneath the emotions of the temporary nature of a particular presidential tenure. We are lucky in this country that we have created an 8-year tenure of 4 years. That means that we can almost say that in the worst case scenario, if a particular government is not doing well, worst case scenario, they cannot last more than 8 years. It's 8 years, such a long time in the life of a nation, that we lose the hope that some other people can come on board and make such a tremendous difference. If one man can cause so much damage, why do we not believe that one man with his own group of men can create spectacular greatness? Why do we want to have a Yoruba nation that is like Canada, an Igbo nation that is like Malaysia? And why do we wish, or why do we even think that we cannot also have a northern nation that is like Dubai? What am I trying to say to you? I'm saying to you that I hear them. I don't agree with them, but I understand how strong that emotion is. People are being killed every day. People are being raped every day. People are just having non-stop conversation around tribe. People are getting easily irritated by the fact that tribes are replying themselves when there's a sitting government. What I mean, somebody will say something in the Southwest, another group will answer. That's not how nations are meant to be. And if we're not careful, we're going to mistake the freedom that democracy promises us to be an opportunity to create chaos. Let's just hope that when we create the chaos, we can all see what we have created for ourselves.
Okay, Mr. Showunmi, you are at Atiku's spokesperson. Has he shared his view with you on this secessionist agitations?
Okay, I'll put it this way. You see, the way I'm Atiku Abubakar's, I was a spokesperson for his presidential campaign in 2019 when he wanted to be president. I was really out there, and I'm still very much waiting for him to declare or tell me that, okay, we're going or we're not. I don't like to whisper. I hate silent whispers. I like someone to say, I want to run. And when you say, I want to run, I like us to then go back and do a review. And we can then say, are the parameters and the issues that we know you hold very strongly, do they still hold water? And if the answer be yes, we then want to also talk and see whether the hunger and the passion to give all for the country still remains there. So on this basis, sometimes I don't need to say Atiku Abubakar to answer for him. I set this foundation so that if Atiku wants to say something else for himself tomorrow, he's free to do that. But the bits that I know of him, Atiku comes from a very smaller minority stock in the Northwest. They're from the Adamawa side of things. Until recently, leaders of this country even the principle of our Nigerianness by even attacking the movement that made people part of this country. And people are saying that even some people like Adamawa are not Nigerian. So that would tell you that
that your principal
no,
is a citizen.
you can't listen. Anybody that is born at the time before 1960, anybody that was born before 1960,
is he a citizen by birth or plebiscite?
these are issues that these are issues that will be coming up. And when you take Atiku and start to say, oh, because you are playing politics, Atiku is not a Nigerian. Do you know how many people you are truly trying to cut off their Nigerianness after all of the years that we have all been Nigerians? So at the end of the day, my plea and my admiration is that, please, when the horse leaves the stable and we are way past Egypt, let us not remind the generation of children whose parents crossed from Egypt to form the nation of Israel that all we're going to be doing to insult them and to rob their sensitivity is to keep telling them that, oh, your father, they came from Egypt too, and when they were in Egypt, what kind of rubbish is that? That does not even fit the philosophy of nations that understand that they need to be passing the baton of a Nigerianness to all Nigerians. So that's that. Atiku's position is very clear. Atiku's position is that, yes, we have huge problems with the management of our diversity. And we said it very clearly in the build-up to 2019. We said we're going on JOBS. Unity was one of them. That the country has become so divided that we need to now find a way to pull it back from the brain. At that time, we blamed Buhari's nepotism for a significant reason why everybody was now wanting to go back to their default life. But we are gone past blaming him now. Whatever damage that style of administration of Muhammadu Buhari and his APC friends is here for all of us to see. Not Tinubu, not any of the leaders from, I'm really one name in any of the zone. Tinubu being Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu being Southwestern. Not Ojus or Kalu, or the man from Iberibe, the Iberibeism man. What's his name now? The guy that just left from Imo. You see how we quickly forget them. Anyway, Okorocha, not Bukola Saraki of Kwara, not even what's the man in Kano now? The Kakasiya man, Kwankwaso. Not even Atiku Abubakar can tell us that they are not worried that this thing has gotten to a point where the Nigerianness and the unity of the country is so threatened. Not even Obasanjo. Therefore, there is no point in fixating our argument and our blame on the president. It's too late. We have accepted that the deed is done. What we are now trying to do, and which is my position, I don't know whether that's the vision of the others, is we have to now brace ourselves up and figure out a way to infuse some new hope into our Nigeria. And it's very easy. All you need is a leader that carries a big enough vision that everybody can connect to and understand their own role in it.
Does that reflect the personality of Atiku?
I crossed my heart to die. One day I sat with him one day. And I like to, because when I tell you these things, you will know that I'm not forming them. One day I sat with Atiku Abubakar, His Excellency Waziri, and I was sitting with him in one location, I was talking to him. And when I'm engaging him, I engage him very hard. Because I want to have things that I can be convinced about. I don't suffer fools gladly. So I was asking him a lot of questions. At the time, he kept quiet. And he was answering them admirably. And then he said to me, Segun, I can die for that country. I didn't even expect such a huge commitment at the time we were discussing that issue. But when he said, Segun, I truly can die for that country, I knew what he was talking about, because the kinds of issues we were talking about, what I was asking him is, I was asking about poverty in the north, I was asking him about the role of religion. These are not things that any interviewer can ask him. I was asking him very hard questions, and I was challenging him on those issues. And at a point he told me that Some of the ideas I even have, sometimes I tell myself that I did not even too radical. But that it's just that I have seen this country when it was great. And there is nothing I am today that was not as a result of me being a Nigerian an opportunity. And I have understood that managing power in a democracy requires that you be a Democrat. And that if that be the case, that attitude alone on its own solves a lot of problems. And so, if you ask me, he has not told me he's running. And even if he says we have to still talk whether I'm going to, But the point is that the Atiku that I know up till now is an Atiku that if people tell him to come and run this country, may God Almighty not let me come and eat these words I'm saying, that you will all be proud of. I worry not about Atiku as president. My greatest worry is that how does he get there? But that Atiku will be president and things will not move, it's impossible. At a point, I was telling my friends who were with Atiku, who were doing the Atiku job, I kept thinking about it. I said, do you guys know one thing? They said, what? I said, do you know that if Atiku becomes president, I will not even agree to serve in the government? They said, really, why? I said, because I can't imagine myself being made to be incapable of correcting you people in case you people want to derail.
So you want to see
listen, my brother, that's the level of commitment my heart is to us getting it right. Because I know that when we get it right, Nigerians, there are boys in the northern boys who design cars for industry. They design Mercedes-Benz, they design by BMW. They are so good at it. Jabal, I can't remember his name now. He's a northerner. There are northerners that are fine, sharp people all over. And you have the same for the east and the west and all that. If only we can get the best of us to lead us, and if the rest of us will do our own bit, we contribute our own bit, we recognize that being part of a country is not limited to only agitation and quarrel and anger and all that. Some of it is getting involved. Why must you get involved in the political process so that you can be president day one or be all of these things that people are too ambitious for? Shall we even agree that because we have not even run a right type of federation, that's why even the office of governor and all this is so attractive? Had we were punishing them for their misdemeanor, I don't think a lot of people want to do it. You can get governor, me and you can go up now. I'm not the president, I'm not the governor. Go up now, go away from here. I'm going to sit down somewhere, have pepper soup, and be pepper souping and be drinking and beer. Our friends are coming. No governor can even do that. Even as mad as Nigeria is, that will not be tolerable. Do you know how much of the freedom of a human being is curtailed when he's in charge of things? Therefore, it is because we have allowed them to get away with so much corruption. We have allowed them to get away with so much misbehavior. We have not gotten the courage.
To ask them question.
No. Ask them questions to punish them as a deterrent for others. There are things you do in Nigeria that you dare not, even if you are the head of the thieves of the world. You can't do it in London, you can't do it in America, you can't do it in Germany, because the system does not even give room for such nonsense. We are the only country in the world where any people can get into government and do just about anything. In fact, let me tell you, we are deceiving ourselves that we are running multi-party, pro-people, everybody gets involved, government of people for the people, by the people, called democracy. We are deceiving ourselves. What we have done in Nigeria is that we have created a culture of termed royalty. Listen to me. We created a culture of termed royalty. That means that we are only in the business of installing kings and monarchs. So if somebody becomes governor now...
Everybody checks again.
No. If he becomes governor now, not only did he not check, everybody expects you to bow before him. You cannot hold an alternative viewpoint just because you want to inspire him. You are an enemy. You cannot hold a friendly view to him just because you want to encourage him. You want to be bought or purchased. And people say all sorts of rubbish from their mouth because every human being thinks that the way he is, that's why how everybody is. But I tell you this, I have spent all of my fairly adult life, 95, 96, when I started getting seriously involved, till date, on only one agenda only. Look for people who show brilliance, that they say they want to be, try and be part of a process that make them be, participate in the political party and be advocating. When it is time for you to defend your own side or your political color, defend them as much as you can. When they are done and it's time to do government, look at the government, pragmatically and get involved in the issue. And I tell you this, if nobody tells me thank you, I think I'll tell myself thank you because they have not done a quarter of the wahala that I do for nothing.
Okay, now you give a hint, or probably that if your principal contest again, that'll be maybe the 5th time. But from all indications, the party that's is so much love,
The PDP.
is in this hurry.
Let me tell you what I'll say about PDP.
No, wait.
Okay.
And more governors from the party, from all indications, are moving to the ruling party.
Which are we? Tell me. Let's be taking them one after the other.
Ayade left quite long.
Ayade.
And he gave hints that more governors will.
No. Let's not discuss speculation. Let us stay on the one that have left.
Yes, that's what I said.
Ayade and Umuai.
Yeah.
Okay.
Key areas.
Hold on a second. This kind of narrative is what injures political party. However tall, influential, wealthy, gargantuan any individual is, be him a governor, a president, or anything, he is only and ought to be seen as just one vote. And if he leaves, because the Constitution allows them freedom of association, it is the duty of the members of the forum of the media and the media owners to, on behalf of a nation, begin to discourage this culture that you can wake up in the morning in this party, in the evening here. They don't even have introspective periods where they agonize that they are even living the affairs of yesterday. In Umuai's case, obviously, at best, his issue will be the Igbo desire to form government at the national level. And probably he thinks it will be easier for him to sensitize and encourage the Igbos in APC. It's a noble cause if you want to fight for your people. But what makes him think that we cannot insist on an Igbo candidate in PDP? And if he thinks he will get the candidacy there, I'll be the happiest to shake him to say, you took a decision that worked for your people. I doubt that. In Ayade's case, Ben Ayade, for me, is one of those examples of why some leaders who help install younger leaders feel frustrated. When Ben was jumping and misbehaving and doing what he's doing, my greatest pity was not with Ben. It was with men like Leelimoke, who insisted that he's a younger man, pass the baton to him, let him be governor. Now, the most annoying example that made me very crazy with Ayade, even I loved him because I used to love all the paparazzi he's doing rice, he's doing this, he's doing that. I used to think that this guy is a very bright star. Only for him to wake up tomorrow morning and tell me, oh, he's leaving PDP because he's inspired by Buhari. Please, if you were...
Does his exit from PDP, does that rub away his achievements?
No. Let me put it this way. His exit from PDP is one of those exits that I know that at best he will prove himself to be not as valuable as he originally thought. Why? You have the likes of this very brilliant Donald Duke. You have Leelimoke. You have a lot of people there. You have a lot of people there who can still rally the PDP around to challenge. And I tell Ayade, and I'm talking to you now, Ben, you messed up. You messed up because if you were that a fanatic of Buhari, why didn't you join him when he was in ANPP? So you see how many votes you can get for yourself. If you loved him that much, why did you go and get ticket from him when he was in CPC? If you are so fanatical about him, why didn't you follow them to APC so that you would have seen whether you can even get ticket of councillor there? Now, if you love him so much, when it was time for you to do your second term in 2019, why didn't you allow us to produce another governor in PDP mode so you can go and carry your love and your so-called power to join him? He will learn the hard lessons by the time another opportunity comes for an election. And let us see how brilliant these ideas are. And look, my brother, those of us that are in the media, or those of you that are in the media, people like us who also engage the media and are narrative managers in our rights. What I would just say is this. The role of the people is to help pick leaders. The role of the political parties is to help create the platforms for leaders to imagine that they can organize themselves for election purposes and all that. The role of government is to solve the problem of all of the people, whether the ones who voted for them or the ones who didn't vote, just be the government of everybody. Do you know the role of you people in the media? The role of you people in the media owners, media buyers, and all of that is to ensure that you remain the conscience of society.
Definitely.
If we are doing as badly as we are doing now, it is because the people that I hold responsible the most.
But we don't shy away from doing it.
Thank you. No.
And that's one of the reasons.
No. Thank you very much, Mr. Kuboroku. Your collective shy away from doing it. Let me tell you why. How did the people of the world even learn to know that you can talk through a phone? Was that always the traditional way they spoke? Why do we make it seem as if we are powerless when it comes to motivating our people, educating them, sensitizing them, or teaching them? That responsibility cannot be left to politicians, because politicians tend to speak not like me. Most politicians tend to speak only for their side. They usually don't have the mind of balance. That's why you see them. They will abuse somebody today, tomorrow morning they will start to praise him. If they had been speaking with balance, if they had been speaking on the issue of the people, they will have no qualms if they want. If I leave PDP today, if I decide that okay, all considered, I want to go to APC today, I am going to go to APC and be prepared to dedicate 10 years, whatever be the outcome, to them. Why? Because I've dedicated up till now 22, 23 years to PDP without much.
So let me quickly have your take on Wiki and Ahmed's tantrums.
I love Governor Nyesom Wike's energy. He is beginning to give me serious cause for concerns because of his unguarded, unbraided comments, which has the risk of creating very, very huge image challenges for the brand. Don't forget, if one person that is a video man says, oh, they are tax collectors, people say, okay, maybe it's just abusing them. Wike, if he doesn't know, let me tell him. Governor Nyesom Wike, you are the Bola Tinubu of PDP when they were in opposition. You are, and you ought to be the Bola Tinubu of ACN when they were in opposition. It was from that small Lagos that they inspired the whole country to take power from us. Your duty is to inspire us as PDP to take power from them. You can never be part of the problem. You can't scare them with your utterances. You can't browbeat them. Some of them are even way older than you. You can't speak to them indecorously if you must lead them. And I expect you to lead them. I am not happy with the way he gets angry with them. Although I must add, Nyesom Wike and Ayo Fayose are two human beings that I swear to God, when you ask them a question, they are telling you the truth. They are not here. I'm not their spokesman. I've never been. There are two people that I'm always scared of what they are going to say, because I know that it's going to be the truth. It's only that truth may be too hard. That truth may have capacity to damage much. And therefore, I expect, especially Wike, for him to be more circumspect. For him to recognize that we are not even in government, we're in opposition. I can tell you for free that I can't even plot our winning graph just yet with the way our people are behaving in PDP. I can't plot our graph.
Imagine what happened at the Southwest election.
No, that was a fantastic election.
What be the aftermath?
No. That was...
Fayose and Makinde?
No. Have you ever heard Makinde speak indecorously?
Not indecorously, but...
No, hold on a second. You see, I know what Ayodele Fayose will be saying. But he can't speak indecorously because he has a loud voice. And people, Ayodele Fayose, let me tell you, that guy scares me. One day we were at a function, PDP function. Ayo was not there yet. He had not even arrived. It was Showunmi we wanted to introduce. The MC, I wasn't the MC. The MC wanted to say, it was Showunmi that he wanted to, the former governor of Ekiti. He didn't finish landing the word Ekiti before everybody in the crowd, you know the kinds of people that go to rally, they started shouting, Osoko. I said, hey, this guy has a lot of street credibility. But with that kind of street credibility comes also huge responsibility. I'm the one telling you now. Lagos State had the resources of state, and Bola Tinubu was the one governor, and from him alone he kept them and helped them and helped them manage them and build structure. We have rivers now, and we have Wike. Enough energy, the kind of youthful energy you need to get things done, the kind of proactive, no nonsense. Let's get it done. Nobody has done more projects, at least from what we are seeing on TV, than him. Do you think I'm going to be happy if it is the same man that will be running the risk that the party could be demarketed in a manner that he doesn't even know how heavy his words are? When Wike sneezes, PDP catches a headache. I'm telling you, when he sneezes, I even catch a headache. Except maybe the sneeze is a sneeze of my party. Because that's my party. That's his party. That's our party. His stake and my stake is the same. He's a governor, but I'm also a very, very strong influencer in this party. Which day did you ever see me go out and be demarketing PDP? I'm not sitting on the resources. I don't have any real. They've made him chairman, they've made him chief of staff, they've made him minister, they've made him one-time governor, they've made him two-time governor. These are all because of PDP. Let mortal men not assume that they have some celestial power that gives them grace to be higher than the mountain they stood on to look high in front of the people. That's my issue. If you must quarrel PDP, quarrel them inside. If you must scold them inside. If you must admonish them mildly. If Babangida Ali wakes up tomorrow now and carries his bag and baggages and say, his style is going away from PDP, who are we going to replace him with in that state? Are we going to constantly be giving ourselves a difficult task? I have not even been able to replace Daniel in Ogun. With all said and done, show me his replacement.
Actually, the party is losing.
No, the party is not losing it. It is some individuals that are not forbearing enough. Like all of them that are leaving. Must you leave when it does not favor you? Haven't been there when it favored you. Assuming you have never gotten any good there, I could have assumed that you have convinced yourself that it's not favoring you. What about when you have gotten a lot of good there? What about when you have made so much, not money now, name, influence, personality, respect, provided leadership, taking decisions that were far-reaching on people, and other people tolerated it? If there be a problem in the house, can you not stay in the house to attempt to adjust it? In all of the years that I have been in PDP, have I ever told any one of them that I have been totally 100% happy? What is there to be happy about?
Maybe Atiku Abubakar makes you happy.
Well, let me put it this way. Atiku Abubakar is a God sent to my sanity. Because if not Atiku Abubakar, I would not have the sanity, personal sanity, to still think that they can even have a leader that can help them. You need to go back to 2018 or thereabout, when they did the chairmanship, whatever, and it didn't come to the Southwest. You know, Southwest wanted it. The body judges of this world and everybody, they wanted to have the chairmanship. It didn't come to us. And it went to the South. It was on the floor of that place that we started speaking indecorously towards the Yoruba people. And when he gave that interview, that even when he gave them, how much did they bring and all that, when I said that, he can never know, and I'm telling him now, how many radio interviews I did all over Southwest just to be trying to say, no, he didn't mean it. And why does he have to keep me in that kind of situation? The last time he was saying they were tax collector, the next time I was on television, he has no idea how many times the APC people kept shoving it in my face. Now, you are shoving it in my face. If only he understands that the geese that is laying the golden egg, those of us that are carrying this party on our head 24 hours a day when they are misbehaving, that is too big a burden for us, for them to be adding to the problem. As it is, we still have not even engaged the APC enough. Have we finished engaging the APC that will be engaging ourselves when it's not a cause? Now, if you then flip it, if you stretch it further and ask yourself, okay, let us say that, okay, no problem, tomorrow when all of us to pack our bag, we are going to APC, which are we go, everybody will go. Are we going to be a one-party state? Even for the purpose of ideological exchanges, it doesn't make sense. Okay, then, at whose expense are these people doing this? They built houses, they built names, they've done this, they do weddings, they've trained their children, they have money, they have done all that, they've made money from the system. They can come and tell us sort of lies that they want, but they corruptly enrich themselves. Is it at whose expense are they causing problems for the democracy? My expense? Of course, or the people's expense. So I tell you this, the Yorubas have a saying that the words does not shake in the belly of an elderly man. I expect and I want to beg, there is some wiki, I love you to bits because of your energy, and I know that you are very, very, very powerful, and you are a very truthful man. But let me beg you on behalf of the teeming members of this political party, and the fact that this party will outlive all of us that are members today, that you need to please be calming down for them a little bit.
Now, go see him now, Mr. Showunmi. I want you to look at your home state, How will you assess Dr. Dakwabiodun's governance?
When Governor Dakwabiodun started, I was always calling him out on some occasions. And for the first time, I'm saying this to you. I want to congratulate, I want to thank, and I want to appreciate Governor Dakpo Abiodun for the maturity with which he manages the democratic space. I have never felt a single worry as a result of very strong comments to him. Of course, the people will reply and all that, that's not the issue. But I know the state well. I know people who, they won't even let people breathe. So Dakpo succeeded in not harassing people. And now where I am is, I've been asking myself, if all the people of Nigeria are parochial, they just want to be their Yorubanese, that wants to be their Hausa, if everybody in Nigeria is parochial, is it sane for one person to be so, nationalistic to the point that he doesn't even protect his own home a bit? Then the third point is, can we engage the conversation around governance intelligently? If I'm to read Dakpo Abiodun, who am I going to compare him with? If I pull him out of this, if I keep him in the southwest, I don't block him up in the southwest, I take Sanwo-Olu, I take Akiti, I take Osheyi in Ibadan, I take what's the guy the other two, Oyetola, and then I take the guy in Ekiti, Kayode Fayemi, and then I take Dakpo Abiodun in Ogun. With every sense of responsibility, I can't score him low because I'm comparing him with his mates. There's something called the class of governors. If I'm comparing Dakpo with the class of governors around now, I find it extremely difficult to score him low. I can't see what the others are doing better than him. Now, if I compare Dakpo to the ideal of who we are in Ogun, where we are always first among equals in this country, and we thank our ancestors, I would just say to Dakpo that, Mr. Governor, you are beginning to come close, but you need to roll up your sleeve and give me legacy projects. Nobody should reduce governance in Ogun State to the administrative convenience of just a level 14 civil servant. It is the administrative convenience of level 14 civil servant for him to be able them to be speaking about only what has been. What has been, and then what has been. We try to do the, I've done a building road before. What have they done? A leader in this modern time must be a disruptor. I don't mean causing crisis or doing chaos. He has to bring big ideas to the table. And those big ideas must be ideas that he knows will help his state to leapfrog. If he doesn't know what to do, we can offer some suggestion. But there's still so much that I think can be done. I don't know whether they're even too late now. Because sometimes in the politics of Nigeria, as crazy as it is, once you get to the second year, they will just start, the whole of the third year is going to be about building structure for how they are going to win the next election. And so governors begin to take a back step, and it's frustrating.
And that takes me to 2023. From all indications, you must have had to. Well, to me, I feel the older generation, they are failures. Now, younger people are aspiring or should be aspiring. And one of them is Governor Yahweh. What's your take on this? Is rumored or speculations that is likely to give the presidency a shot in 2023?
I think the young people in the country have to ask themselves one question. If young people want to lead, if they truly want to lead, if a young man comes on the table, what should be their role in helping him or stopping him? If young people are going to constantly be saying that their role is to be doing pull him down for themselves, pull Showunmi down is crazy, pull Drotelu down is Ajebota, Trotoye, pull him down. I can give you young names, pull all of them down, pull Mogalu down, pull Yaya Bello down. If that's their role, then young people should know they have themselves to blame for not being able to be in charge of the country. Because if a young man says he wants to be, and Yaya Bello is 45, at least that's what we're told.
Or 47.
Maybe that's 46, whatever. He's under 50.
Yeah.
So he's a young man. I'm older than him. If he says he wants to be president of the country, we will ask a few rapid questions. And this is how I think. Number one, would Yaya be able to form government? The answer is yes. Why? He has formed government as a governor. So that means he knows that balance, take woman, take man, so all of those balancing issues, he has experienced it. He knows what can happen. He doesn't even come from the biggest tribe in Kogi. So that means managing diversity shouldn't be a problem. So young people can say, okay, at least we know he can form government. It's a very big problem. Because 5 minutes after they make you president, you have to form government. Forming of government is one of the places where the government will die from day one and do nothing or move on. So anybody who can at least give an idea of forming government, you can give, okay. The second thing you will say is that, can you truly, with every sense of morality, say that the 60 years or 60-something years that Nigeria has been in a country between 1966 to date as Nigeria, and all of the problems that we say in Nigeria, where there are corruption, there are this, they eat the money, they chop the money, they do all the things we're saying, are you going to honestly say that Yaya Bello is part of them? Because, if you want to tell, if you have evidence that Yaya Bello was the one that ate the money of the Ministry of Education, or Yaya Bello was the one that these things, if Yaya is not one of them, then it means that you must say that let us not treat him as part of them. Instead, what I will say to Yaya Bello is that, Mr. Bello, anybody who wants to be president of this country, the way this country is now, has to do a whole lot more to speak to the vision that he's bringing. And he has to understand realistically that he's asking for a tough job. And then all of us as Nigerians, we can look at it. He has not done the primaries of their party yet. So we cannot even say he can't win. I'm not in their party. Imagine if Yaya Bello becomes the presidential candidate of APC. Tell me, how much interrogation have we done on his vision? And then they rack up all their machinery behind him. He'll be president now, if they win. If I become the presidential candidate of the PDP too, and they rack up all their machinery behind me, and I start to proceed on the big vision and all that, of course I will duff a lot of people, and maybe I will win. So what am I saying in essence? That Yaya wants to be president, let us commend him for courage. Because there are a lot of young people in this country who think they can be president too, but when they look at the humongous challenge of these behemoths of old people that have been in charge of the country, they won't even bother saying they have that aspiration. So if he says he has the aspiration, give him a score that. That's courage there. And then you have to now go and drill down the details. But let me just say, it is easier for an elephant to pass through the eye of the needle than for anybody to think that the two political structures are irrelevant in determining the presidency of Nigeria. There is nothing the Nigerians have done to inspire a different hope. If we had seen Nigerians run to start a new party and push the agenda of a party and stand by it, I would have said, okay, if you are not part of APC or part of PDP, maybe you can try. With about 2 years or thereabout to go, before you set up party, before you find offices, before you tell people the name, before you tell the native, before they understand the symbol, before you rack it up, and not having the old order. Because people are going to tell me, what about APC? It was the old order that created APC. Oh. If you don't have those order on board, how will you do it? Now, if this old order are on board, and one young man says he's interested, let us just say, may God help him and help Nigeria.